Quick, name a supposedly practical but mostly decorative vehicle built at the insistence of an eccentric man in a position of power even though no one else thought it was a good idea. If you answered either the Tesla Cybertruck or Sinar Fleet Systems Delta-class T-3c Shuttle, you are correct. The Spruce Goose was also an acceptable answer. The Delta-class shuttle seen in Rogue One was, if nothing else, a memorable design. With its unusual geometric shape and rare hull material, it was like nothing else on the shuttle market. In this way, it is, as the title says, the Tesla Cybertruck of Star Wars. Is that a stretch? Am I just trying to include a trendy phrase in the title? Who's to say? After we break down the design, history, and specifications of the shuttle, you can decide that for yourself. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and this is the Cybertruck of Star Wars. Design. The Delta-class T-3c shuttle was a pyramid-shaped stealth shuttle built by Sinar Fleet Systems. It had a short dorsal wing at the top and two long folding wings attached at the base. Each wing was tipped with a laser cannon, and the base of the ship had 4 additional cannons. The shuttle was built to be as stealthy as possible without a cloaking device. Its oddly shaped hull was built out of a black stealth composite designed to absorb the various energies emitted by most sensors. The unique shape and stealth systems came at the cost of the interior, though. While most Greek letter shuttles, such as the Lambda or Theta, were designed to be a refined and comfortable transport for imperial executives, the Delta shared no such luxuries. Its interior was filled with utilitarian crash seats and cargo straps. Specifications. The Delta-class shuttle measured 14.4 meters long and 25.1 meters tall in its landing configuration. Most of this height was in its lanky wings, though, as the main body of the ship was only about 12 meters wide and 8 meters tall. Its SFS-215 ion engines propelled it to 1,000 kilometers per hour, and it cost 160,000 credits. It was armed with 3 Tamenback XK3 laser cannons on its wingtips and 4 Tamenback XK9 laser cannons at the base of the shuttle, right in front of the landing gear. These 4 cannons were the same type used on the T-65 X-Wing. The T-3c had a crew of 6 with a pilot, co-pilot, navigator, gunner, comms operator, and flight engineer. Supposedly it could carry 30 passengers, but frankly I think that's either the maximum occupancy in case of emergency, standing room only, or a completely theoretical number made up by the manufacturer to make it look better to potential customers. Then again, a standard school bus is only 11.8 meters long by 2.4 meters wide and can carry 60 to 80 passengers, so it's certainly possible. It just seemed odd that it could carry the same number of passengers as the considerably larger New-class shuttle. History. The Delta-class shuttle was never supposed to be built. It was designed as a side project by Sinar and discarded until the director of the Imperial Military Department of Advanced Weapons Research, Orson Krennic, discovered the plans for the ship and convinced Sinar to produce a limited run of them. Now this is pure speculation on my part, but I think I may have come up with a reason for why the design may have been abandoned. I think that either the early Empire or late Republic asked Sinar to design a stealth shuttle for what would eventually be the Inquisitorius and other Black Ops groups. Sinar produced 2 options, the Delta-class shuttle and the Phi-class shuttle. Both ships have an extremely angular shape, a stealthy black hull, and if you ignore the Phi's prongs and Delta's wings, they are almost exactly the same size. Sinar produces these 2 designs, and for reasons unknown, the Empire chooses the Phi class. They give one of these, named the Scythe, to the Inquisitorius, and Cynar sends the Delta-class design to their archives. Sometime later, Director Krennic discovers it and likes the design better than the Phi class and demands Cynar build him one. I don't think this story meshes perfectly with the established timeline, but I can't think of any catastrophic contradictions that would make it completely impossible. Anyway, back to the real history, it was in service as early as 19 BBY when Omega of Clone Force 99 memorizes its shape as part of a threat identification exercise. Orson Krennic uses the first T-3c built, ST-149, in his various duties as director of the IMDAWR. ST-149, or the Pterodon as its pilot nicknamed it, was used at least as early as 13 BBY. During the final stages of the Death Star's construction in 1 BBY, Krennic used it to travel to Iadu, Mustafar, and Scarif as part of his last-minute politicking. The Pterodon was likely destroyed at Scarif when the Death Star fired a low-power blast through the Scarif Citadel's communications tower to attempt to protect the Death Star plans. It was probably destroyed by falling debris from the Citadel or by the advancing wave of energy from the Death Star's blast. That was not the only Delta-class T-3c shuttle, though. It was also used by other Imperial officers with a flair for the dramatic and a need for stealth. One such officer was Inspector Magna Tolvan, who used one on a mission to Skako Minor to hunt for rogue archaeologist Chelly Afra. Additionally, a stormtrooper on the second Death Star mistakenly believed that the Emperor would travel aboard a Delta as well, and thought that the Lambda carrying him must be for someone else when it arrived. So now I ask you this. Is the Delta Shuttle the Cybertruck of Star Wars? Both have a geometric hull that renders them visually unique but physically impractical, and a hull material rarely used in vehicles of their respective types. Both were built at the request of a strange, dramatic man who thinks himself far more important than he actually is. Both are presently quite rare, though that is much more likely to change for Tesla than Cynar. Both are worse at their actual jobs than other vehicles of the same type, purely for the sake of vanity, though both are still undeniably very cool to look at. To me, the narrative resemblance is uncanny, but I'm curious if you think the same. Am I onto something, or have I lost my mind again? I'd also love to hear what you think of the shuttle on its own, in a purely Star Wars context. Do you think it's better or worse than its main competitor, the Lambda shuttle? How about its sibling, the Phi shuttle? I eagerly await your engagement. And with that, I have run out of things to say. RFC, out.